My name is Lacey, and this is the story of my learning journey through Outdoor Education 224. When Audrey asked us in the first class what we think outdoor education is, I did have a faint idea of what this course may entail. However, I never would have guessed that I would later make so many discoveries about the outdoors and where I, as an individual, fit into the picture. When we as a class were posed the question, why is it easier to learn outside, I could never quite answer in a way with which I was content. This uncertainty was evident in my first blog post reflection, as I wrote of outdoor education. It's more than learning outside to me. It's becoming connected and realizing a bigger purpose for why we are here in this moment. How lucky we are to be grounded in such a generous environment." End quote. I now feel that I was beginning to see a deeper meaning to my place in the outdoors, but my interpretation was still incomplete and perhaps even naive. Sure, it might be easier to learn outside because we don't feel as cooped up as we do between four walls and a closed door, but I knew that there must be more than that. I spent the rest of my time in my outdoor learning experiences trying to explore this uncertainty in hopes of eventually finding an answer. Liz Newberry speaks to the idea of inspiration in wilderness in her piece titled Canoe Pedagogy and Colonial History, Exploring Contested Places of Outdoor Environmental Education. She states, "If we seek for our students to be inspired, for them to develop a sense of personal strength and to experience joy on the land, we may be less likely to also present them with a curriculum of colonial implication." End quote. She frames wilderness as wild, unpolluted, and good. This was crucial in helping further my thinking around outdoor education. As I wrote in my blog reflection of this article, wilderness ignores the injustices and guilt that lay within the land and is often presented outside of human history. We often simplify the land that we inhabit and explore, without understanding or even bringing to surface the destructive and complicated traumas that have occurred before us and that continue to occur as a result of colonialism. Despite how uncomfortable we may feel in acknowledging, learning from, and reconciling relationships with the land and its inhabitants, in both historical and present forms, it is absolutely necessary. Newberry offers that this could be as simple as traveling with a sense of humility rather than entitlement. I think that Robin Kimmerer would agree with Newberry, as Kimmerer states in her book, Braiding Sweetgrass, quote, "I had been fooling myself that I was the only teacher. The land is the real teacher. All we need as students is mindfulness." End quote. We can't tell our students what they need to know. We can only offer them settings as meaningful opportunities for them to learn. While there are deficits in teaching for inspiration in the outdoors, a sense of wonder is crucial, as it elicits what inspiration lacks. A meaningful quote to me from Richard Louv's book, Last Child in the Woods, reads, "Most of all, nature is reflected in our capacity for wonder, nasi, to be born." In my very first reflection blog post, I wrote, "When I'm in nature, I feel like I am born into something bigger." While I like that Louvre uses the Latin word nasi as an explanation of oneself as a part of nature, I feel he also should have included the term renascitur, meaning to be reborn. Though we are all born as a part of nature, and as children we embrace this truth, we tend to lose meaning of this as we grow older. If we're lucky, we are offered a rebirth in our own identity as a part of nature. As a result of being reborn as a part of nature, I have become more conscious of the many living organisms aside from humans. For example, being aware of tiny creatures, such as spiders, during my stillness practice. Wonder can create a rare and exquisite intimacy with even the smallest of beings. Though a spider may crawl on my hand as I am a part of nature, I have the power to destroy that intimacy in a mere second. It wasn't until our last learning experience in the outdoors that I was able to more roundly answer the initial question, why is it easier to learn outside? We learn best outdoors because that's where we came from. We didn't initially inhabit this earth indoors because they didn't exist. There was just the earth. The outdoors is who we are. We are not apart from, but rather a part of, nature. In nature, there is an interconnectedness of intimacy, delicacy, and destruction. Perhaps if we behaved as a part of nature, we wouldn't do it so much harm, and we wouldn't continue to be and to feel so separate from those with whom we cohabit this land. It would be our space, comparable to our own bodies, and perhaps we would then treat it with the love, respect, and kindness that it has always deserved.
Created using Powtoon.